Hello everyone, Ladislas Maurice from the wanderinginvestor.com in Asunción with Aleksandr, who's been helping me obtain residency here in Paraguay. How are you, Aleksandr?
Fine. And you?
Good. So we're going to be discussing the pros and cons of living here in Paraguay. Look, before coming here, the overall perception I had of Paraguay, which I heard from, online, etc. People always said it's a shithole, right? And I've been here for about 2-3 weeks. I rented a car, drove around the whole country, and honestly, I am very pleasantly surprised. I'm happy that people manage my expectations in the sense that it's made this trip a lot more pleasant, in the sense that everywhere I went, I was actually very happy, and I was quite impressed with a lot of things I saw. So I think today's discussion is just to set the record straight on what are the true advantages and the true disadvantages of living here in Paraguay. So Aleksandr, so you were born here in Paraguay, correct?
Yeah, correct.
But you also lived in Europe, etc. So you're able to see both perspectives, and you see your country for what it really is. Cool. So let's go through a list of pros.
So the strongest pros, I think, it's that nobody cares what are you doing here. So the government doesn't control you too much. You can do your business without problem. There is no inspection, some control, different instances that are coming to your business asking for something. No, usually you are doing your stuff if it's like in the law, it's in the mark of the law. And you just earn your money. It's pretty easy to work on something here without being bothered by the government. So it's like the best thing that I like here. Even I know if you go to the street, if you could drive a car, there is like some people from Germany doesn't like that you don't have a sign everywhere. But for me, it's like a freedom. Like you need to think by yourself. If your road it's as a principal one, or it's a secondary, and it's like nobody controls the velocity of your car, how fast you are driving. There are only some places where they are controlling, but it's like if you go to Brazil, to Ciudad del Este, but usually in the city in Asunción nobody controls. There is no camera controlling that. So for me it's like freedom.
That's true. I could tell the difference leaving Paraguay and driving into Brazil and Argentina. As soon as you cross either of the borders, speed trap. And in Argentina, it's just like police controls constantly. You come back to Paraguay, no speed traps. I saw one in my whole road trip around the country, to a point near Ciudad del Este on the main highway. Apart from that, nothing. So from that point of view, I agree, a lot of freedom. And then taxes.
Yeah, taxes, they're pretty low. You have a 10% tax on income, on net income. So it's like, it's not so high compared to the neighbors country like Brazil or Argentina. They have higher taxes. So that's a good thing too here. And if, for example, if you are a nomad, it's even more easier to earn your $3,000, for example, and paying only small part of that. And so that thing is a good point of Paraguay.
And if you structure things properly, there's no taxes on income earned outside of Paraguay. So if you work online, if you have a business overseas, etc., you don't actually, if you structure things properly, you don't actually have to pay any taxes in Paraguay. So sure, locally it's 10%, but if you do things well and you're not actually active locally from a business point of view, you can end up paying 0%, which you can do in Central America and a few countries, but in South America it's pretty much the only country where it's this straightforward.
Yeah. The third one, I don't know if it's cheaper, much cheaper than other countries, but at least it's not expensive as Spain or countries like that. So if you, for example, are a nomad and you have a salary of $2,000, $3,000 per month, you are a king here. Like you can have a family, you can buy a car, you can even buy a apartment in the long term. So it's like you don't need to earn too much if you take the perspective of the foreigner. If you are a local one, here the salary are low. So if you work for a company here, at the lowest level, for example, the basic level, you earn only $350. So it's a low salary, it's not enough. But if you are a foreigner and if you have earnings outside, you live here like a king. You feel that big difference. For example, when I lived in Spain, I feel that I was a lot poorer there. Even though that you earn maybe more than in Paraguay, but you feel that you are poorer. Meanwhile, in Paraguay, you feel that you are a lot more richer. You have more access to goods than in Spain.
In terms of cost of living, I would compare it in many ways to Belgrade, to Serbia, roughly. So, not cheap, but overall very good value for money, especially for people coming from North America. And can you elaborate as well on, because this is important, because a lot of people use Paraguay not just for taxes, but a lot of people use it as a plan B in case of things happening in the world and they need to go. There's a food crisis, supply chains are broken, etc. So can you talk about this aspect in terms of resiliency here in Paraguay?
First of all, electricity. Paraguay produce at least for the next 10, 15 years his own electricity. So we don't have a problem with electricity like, in South Africa or in countries like that. So here you have that safe zone at that level. Then the water supply, we don't have much problem with that, even with the last dries that we have, because of those changes that you have in the climate.
I mean, literally, Paraguay sits on a massive aquifer.
Yeah.
So there's underneath the whole country, there's water.
Even the last 5 years, we had a dry season, and it doesn't. For now, it's not affecting us terribly. Food supply, we produce all our own meat. Basically, we're a big exporter of that thing, and it's the best meat that you get in South America. At least for me, it's the best thing. Even when I was in Brazil, you don't have meat like Paraguayan one. So if you take vegetables, maybe Paraguay doesn't produce everything in that sense, but you have your neighbors like Brazil, Argentina, who produce all that things. So if you take South America or every country that are into the Mercosur bloc, they produce their own food. And then you can take that at political level, it's pretty stable. We have some problems, but it's generally stable. We don't have guerrilla groups somewhere, big groups that control the half of the country. We don't have attention in the sense that there is big socialistic movements that want to conquer the country and to make a new Venezuela or something like that. It's pretty stable, like a conservative country. So. Yeah.
And again, I'm gonna go back to that example. When you leave Paraguay, you go into Brazil, you just feel a little bit of violence in the air or potential for violence in the air. And you can just see it by the amount of security that homes have just across the border in Brazil. And then when you go into Argentina, there you can just tell there's a lot of socialism. There's just a lot of government and socialism. And then you come back to Paraguay, it's a little chaotic. You're free. That's nice.
Yeah, the crime rate, it's at middle level.
Yeah.
There is a difference. Even in Brazil, you have regions that are that could be safer than some region of Paraguay. It's like there is a thing, but in generally, Paraguay is safer than Brazil. If you go to the north, to the south of Paraguay, it's everything. It's pretty stable. There is not so much shooting between narcos and all that thing. The north of Paraguay, it's more dangerous, but generally Paraguay is safer than Brazil, than Argentina and countries around us.
Especially as a tourist, because when there are issues, it's just narcos having a go at each other. And again, a lot less than in other countries. But as a tourist, it doesn't really impact you at all.
Yeah, because even if you are a tourist, typically in Paraguay, as a tourist, you are not going to the place where there is a dangerous thing happens, because it's not a tourist zone.
Yeah.
Like it's a typical narco zone, narco city who are having their own business. But meanwhile, if you go to Brazil, many tourist areas are dangerous area.
And then let's talk about gun rights. So I know Europeans generally don't care too much about this, but for my Canadian and American audience, I know you do care about this. So tell us about gun rights. So I'll receive my residency in a few months, and you'll give it to me. You'll be like, Ladislas, congratulations, here are your cedula. And then I'll be like, Alex, I want a gun. What do I do?
Yeah, for you have like two level of having a gun. One is a basic one, when you just buy a gun, and in 1 month you will get a license for having your gun in your house or car or something like that. You can bring your gun to the public, to the
You can or you can't?
You can't.
Okay.
Yeah, with that license, you only have a right to have in your house or your car.
So
but you can use as your defense weapon if someone, for example, I don't know, if you are on the car and someone attacks you, you can bring your car you can bring your gun from your car and to shoot at the one who are attacking you.
So let's take an extreme scenario. Let's say I get my card in a few months.
Yeah.
Let's say I didn't speak any Spanish. I can just go I don't need to pass some license test or some like government test to show that I'm knowledgeable or
usually
whatever.
The shop that sells you the gun, they for $50 or something like that, they can make the needed process to give you the right for the gun, the license.
And then a month later I have my gun.
No, you will have your gun in the moment when you buy your gun.
Oh, so I can get it immediately.
Yeah, because by law you have like 30 days after buying a gun that you need to get a license.
Okay.
So during that month you can have your gun, but after the month you need to have your license.
Okay, cool.
Oh.
So I can be angry, go buy a gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And after
but they're more expensive than in the US, right?
Yeah, it's pretty expensive. For example, I know if you take Glock, it's cool get higher as $2,000 for a Glock.
Okay.
So it's expensive. American guns are expensive here. If you want something cheaper, you need to buy some Brazilian ones.
Okay.
Like, I think Taurus, it's Brazilian, something like that. So it's cheaper. But yeah, usually guns are expensive. You have a right to have semi-automatic, shotguns, rifle, pistols, all that thing. And after you have that license, you can apply for the gun to have your gun with yourself.
So concealed carry.
Yeah, but the problem with that usually the government doesn't issue that license to local people, to the general public, because it's always only those who are, I know, in security, working in security, something like that. Only if you have security license, you will get. But if you don't have that, it's not so easy to get.
Okay, so you can have your gun at home, in your car, and then when you go shooting in the countryside and at the gun range, whatever.
In the countryside, nobody cares. Nobody controls that. If you have your hectares, nobody. People even have illegal guns there because there are many owners who have like thousands and thousands of hectares who will control there.
Cool. So nice with the cowboys. Cool. And then I'll add as well that the internet connection in the country when I was traveling was actually quite good. So now let's get to the real stuff. Let's go to the cons.
Yeah.
So the negative points about living in Paraguay.
The negative thing will be
I'll start off the mosquitoes.
Yeah, the mosquitoes, yeah.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
You just start to learn to live with them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like, if you want to go to the nature, be ready.
Yeah. A lot of mosquitoes. Cool. Other points?
Other point will be the Supreme Court, the prosecutor, all that thing at the legal level. If you want to fight with someone at the legal level, it's like a pain in the ass. It's difficult, it's so corrupted. There are many corrupted people there. If you have problem with some local who have some level of influence at the political level, it will be hard to you to win, even if you are right. So if you are here, yeah, it's freedom, nobody cares, the government doesn't care. But if you go to the court system, be ready that you will spend many days, many years fighting, and you will lose your money. Like, you will spend your money every time, because you have not only those corrupted people there, that inefficient system, but also the lawyers here are like predators. They only want money from you, and if you are foreigner, for sure, the majority of lawyers will want to just get money from you and not doing anything.
Cool. So people have been warned. So essentially, if you have issues with a contract, etc., it's going to take years to solve, like many years.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you buy something, if you do something, the best thing is just to prevent. You need to check what you are buying. You need to check with whom you are dealing, and be like taking into account if something bad can happen. And if you are not ready to accept that, then don't do that. Because if it will happen and then you need to go to the court system, it will be like a pain.
Cool. So I know you help quite a few of your investors buy real estate here.
Yeah.
Generally, property rights are safe in Paraguay. But to your point, you want to work with like good lawyers, competent lawyers to help you through the process so that you prevent, and rather than trying to fix a situation later on.
For example, some local lawyer sold inexistent land to some foreigners.
Yeah.
And after that, it's basically, it will take years for them to get back at least half of that amount. And it was like $100,000. More than that, they lost in that. So yeah, you need to be careful with this thing, because local people, they are good. They're like they're smiling. They're always trying to help you, but you are a foreigner. You are a gringo. So you always, in the eyes of the local, you will be always like when you have a lot of money, like bag of money. You will be a bag of money for them.
Cool. And then one of the big disadvantages here, as someone who travels a lot, is the remote location and the poor flight connections. Look, you go to the airport here, and there's like a few flights a day. Typically, they're like at 1 a.m., at 2 a.m. to go to like Panama or Brazil or Argentina. There are no low-cost airlines to fly around the region, so you just always have to take the real airlines, and the connections are quite poor, and the flights are expensive. So if you want to fly around pretty cheap, you need to drive to Argentina, drive to Brazil, and then take local flights from there. You'll get better deals. But overall, it's expensive, and it's not easy to get to. So when I look at this, I wouldn't say it's appropriate for people who travel a lot and who want to be coming in and out of their base on a regular basis, especially if they don't have that much business in South America. It's good as a plan A, so people who actually want to live here. It's very livable, very comfortable. I like it a lot. And it's also a great plan B. So people who want a residency in case things happen, then they have their plan B, or who just want a residency to show to their home government. This is not tax advice, because it depends on your country of citizenship and of former residency, where you just need to show your home government that you have a residency of some sort. And Paraguay in this case works quite well as well. So I'd say these are the two use cases of Paraguay. And then also finally, the banking system is...
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's not easy to open a normal bank account. You need to be first a resident, then you need to show some tax movement, local tax movement. And only after 6 months, some banks ask for 12 months, you will be able to open a dollar account. So, yeah.
Horrible banking. So if you come here, you moved here to Paraguay, you continue banking overseas, just forget about local banking unless you have local business activities or unless you wanted to pay for some bills or pay locals or whatever when you're not here. But just, don't move to Paraguay hoping that you'll get a good bank, that's functional. Trying to do international transactions out of here is a complete nightmare, whether incoming or outcoming. So in an ideal world, you either live in Paraguay or you have it as a plan B, but you don't deal with local banking.
Yeah. But even if you have a proof from where your money is coming, you can open, after the residency card, you can open a local basic bank account and you can receive, but you will not receive directly. You will receive, you need to go to the office to ask permission for receiving the money. And you need to show a proof from where you get that money.
And they'll want it translated and this and that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. So I think this kind of covers the pros and cons of living in Paraguay. So overall, I like it. It's a lot better than I thought it would be. To be completely honest with you, I absolutely do not believe the GDP per capita figures that are published for Paraguay. When you drive around, it's clearly a lot richer than what the numbers imply. So when I see this country, I see a massive hidden/black economy that is not visible in the numbers, but that is visible in people's living standards and just in the general economy around. So, if you're going to base your perception of Paraguay based on all of these, World Bank metrics, you're going to come here with the wrong perception, which I did actually. And now I just think of Paraguay very differently, in a lot more positive way. So I recommend that you come here if you're interested in these things. And then if you want residency here in Paraguay, feel free to get in touch with Aleksandr. There's his email below. There's also a link with more information on his services. And then he can send you a brochure with the whole process of how to obtain residency as well as his price list.
Yeah.
Great. All right, Aleksandr, thank you very much.
You can go to my website, thewanderinginvestor.com, and sign up to the private list. It's entirely free. This way you will be getting insider information as I travel around the world looking for opportunities. Lastly, feel free to follow me on Instagram at The Wandering Investor. I look forward to hearing from you.